All right, Town Council, public hearing and special meeting. Can I get a roll call?
Newman present.
Holloway present.
Buda present.
Grossman present.
Ashworth present.
And Buckles present. All right, we establish a quorum. We have a moment of silence and the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, public hearing. Do we have any speakers?
Nobody has signed up.
All right, can I get a motion to,
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing if we have no people.
Second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, public hearing is closed. All right, recognition of visitors. Northampton County Town Edge Ordinance Revision. County Administrator Matt Spaulding. You're on the floor.
On the floor, thank you. I appreciate the time that you're giving me to explain something that's going on locally that's impactful to all of us. With visual. So I think each of you has a copy of the presentation that I'm going to walk through. I'm not going to read it to you. I'm going to give you some of the highlights on it and some of the purposes behind each of the slides and what they're there to represent. Okay. So the first slide is, I'm calling Northampton by the numbers, our population and income categories. Roughly, we have 12,000 people in the county. There are 5,440 homes, and our average our median income is $61,000. So that means that 2,720 houses of our neighbors are living on $61,000 or less. If that's not impactful to show that we really do need affordable housing, half of our population is there. Okay. The income ranges are there from the Census Bureau. You can see where we fall, and under 90,000 is, I would say, a majority. So under 90,000 is the majority, under 61,000 is half. The next page goes through the housing inventory. And the way I went through this was I took the value of each house and then inserted it into a level that matched that affordability range. So a house of under $100,000, we have about 1,196 of those, and I would classify that as a lower value or an older stock. Between 1 and 200, we have 1,500 houses. 2 and 300, we have 979 houses. I'm going to skip the ones below.
Can
Yeah,
I ask a question?
of course you can.
Out of the 100,000 K, are all those habitable?
Yes, those are actually Census Bureau respondents.
Okay.
And then the graph on the bottom shows where the gaps lie. So you'll see that the net adds to zero. So we don't have a housing shortage. We have a mismatch of our middle and lower housing. So we're fine with 300,000 and higher. We are not fine at $300,000 and under. So that basically says, and this does not agree with the housing study that ANPDC did a few years back, their numbers are significantly larger than mine. So what I'm showing is that we need about 300 or 430 homes at $200,000 or less to match the income range of our actual residents.
Well, I'll just say it because I was on that committee. The mismatch, you're correct. What we found is a lot of the people couldn't find homes that could afford something more substantial, had to settle on something less.
Push down.
And then all of a sudden, the people that were looking for something, they couldn't get it because they were bumped out by somebody else.
That's the missing middle that we're talking about, is the folks who can afford it have to rent down because there's no inventory. One of the things that you'll hear about inventory is rentals. In the county, we have roughly 900 rental units. according to ChatGPT, a healthy rental market would have 5 to 8% of the housing market inventory available on a monthly basis. Our percentage using actual Zillows, Apartments.com and whatnot is less than 1%. So our rental market is tight, people are holding on to them, they're not going anywhere. We're creating our own inventory problem. And then if you look down the road even a little bit more, our average home in the county is 75 years old. Not all of those 75-year-old homes are maintained like they are downtown. So what happens is as they get older, they're going to become less valuable and they're going to generate less real estate taxes for us. So if we don't replace the housing stock, we're just simply going to age out of it and we won't have any new income to replace it. So it is sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. The next slide is a housing analysis, and basically what it shows, it's a little tough to read, but the concept is the affordable rent, which I define affordable rent as 25% of your salary. The other 5% goes to utilities. That's where I come up with the 30% housing burden. If you pay more than 30% of your salary for housing, it's considered housing burden. So, and that's how that's defined. So affordable rent is based off the median income. The market rent is based off the census. And you can see back in 11, those were touching. So we were fine 13, 14 years ago. But then the price and the market went up so much, but the affordable rent didn't go up that much because the median income didn't go up by much. So that gap between the market rent and the affordable rent is widening. And it's not going to get any narrower unless we do something. The other thing I wanted to point out was the trend between the median income and the construction costs. Construction costs, those are the two bottom lines, and like you say, back in 2000 was my base year, so that's when they all sort of start. But you can see as we got into the mid-teens, that gap started to widen. In the last 4 to 5 years, it is breathtakingly wide. So we're saying our median income is not keeping pace with the building costs. Affordability becomes an issue if you can't build something that somebody can afford to live in.
Silly question, but
Yeah.
Jim, I've been here long enough, but over the years, I think a lot of that could have stemmed from the 2009 zoning, where they turned around and went from R whatever to R5 per acre. So it's like shooting yourself in the foot.
Well, that's actually one of the better segues I've seen in a long time. The next slide is...
They've done one in their backyard, so
Yeah.
it's what's
Well, that's
causing
one of the
all
issues that you're going to see. So the next slide is literally land use by acre. So we have 212 square miles of land in Northampton County. Ready for Trivial Pursuit, right?
I'm trying, we're prepared.
What was that number again?
212.
212. This graph was put together by my GIS specialist, and it has accounted for 209 of those square miles. So this is an incredibly accurate map, right down to the parcel. The graph shows that conservation land and ag land, which is quite honestly why we all moved here, represents 84% of our land. The next bit is residential, and that's at about 11 and change. The towns make up another 4%. So we have 15, 16% in town and residential zoning, and we have 85% in ag and conservation. So that leaves that little sliver on the top, so we get an order of magnitude of what we're talking about here. Town edge zoned property total 1.3% of the land in the county. 1.3%. And if you want something even more frightening, because people want to say bring businesses, the slice at the bottom where it says 0.5%, that's land zoned for commercial, business, or industry.
Does that include town?
No, your town is your own, you're your own zoning district.
I got a lot of 4 acres.
Yeah, this has been one of the more telling graphs that I've used. So I want to go through and talk about Town Edge now. Town Edge is not new. Back in April 12th of 2016, the district Town Edge 1 was created. So 10 years ago, the district Town Edge 1 was created. About 5 years ago, the comp plan was presented and adopted. That showed all of that town edge, and it gave it a purpose. The reason we want to promote development outside of towns is because potentially the infrastructure, they can support the town's businesses, but also protects our conservation and our ag land. So we did that on purpose, and then the comp plan talks through about why we did that. If you look and think that, you know, the district has been there for 10 years, it's only 1.3% of the town, of the zoning, and the proximity of towns helps all the businesses. That's the reason for town edge zoning. What this ordinance does is it establishes a new zoning district. That's it. It calls TER, Town Edge Residential, okay? Right now, it's TE1. So if you look at this map, the yellow are all the currently zoned, or since 2016, zone TE1 outside of Cape Charles and Sheridan. So you can sort of see. The purple is a little, I want to say misleading. The purple is there from the comp plan. That comes from the future land use map, FLOMA. And that shows conceptually where other parcels might go. They're zoned the way they always have been. There's no plans, there's no nothing. It was just absolutely somebody sitting down at a conference room table saying, what about here? So there is no change in that, but that's what it means. So the yellow is in existence. In order for a yellow TE1 to change into a TER, if this were adopted, you would have to go through a full rezoning for every single parcel. That part of it, I want to jump up and down on that a little bit, because there's been some misconception that by passing this ordinance, by right, anybody can come in and do anything anywhere, and that's just simply not true. You can come in, you can put a zoning application in, a zoning change application in, and then you go through the process. I'm going to review the process in a second. But the new TER sets density standards, sets construction standards, sets setbacks, things like that. So, and yes, it is more dense, but let me walk through why. So TE1 versus TER. Right now, we're at basically 1 dwelling per 5 acres. Okay, nobody can make money developing that. We all agree. Okay, so if we want affordable housing, we have to make something that'll pencil for a developer. That's just the way it is. If we don't want affordable housing, we just change directions and look at a new revenue stream. That's all. So that's the decision that's being made by Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors, is if this fits into who we are and where we want to go. But right now, TE1, it's not feasible financially. There are a couple of ways that you can develop inside of TER. One is if the parcel has public utilities, and the other is if the parcel doesn't have public utilities. So the way that works is you're allowed to have smaller lots when you have public services. So if I have wastewater and water, I don't have to have private cell and septic. So that allows for a smaller print. The cluster development allows up to 4 dwelling units per acre. Now, I'm just going to put reality out there and say 4 housing units per acre. By the time you put the road and the sidewalks and the setbacks in, you're not getting 4 in there. You might get 3. So what we're looking at is somebody who needs to pay for a road and all the stormwater on 3 houses. I promise you, if they try to do that, they're not going to be affordable to anybody. So, and also clusters, but they do allow for smaller footprints up to 6,000 square feet, but they have to leave 40% of the land open. So what it basically does is it takes that acre and moves all the houses into one corner and then leaves the rest of the thing open to green space. And in theory, you have a smaller road, you have smaller infrastructure because everything's a little bit closer and I can just cut in and go there. I don't have to go around the whole thing.
Question, this, on the current TE1, you mentioned, or Town Edge, 1.3%. Do we have anything right now, TER?
No, it's
Right.
the designation does not exist.
Right.
That's what this ordinance does.
I also have another question. But
Okay?
Well, let me clarify it just a sec. It does exist, it's just not used. We
It's,
have-
well, you have to go through a rezoning to do it.
But I'm saying the current county zoning does address TER. It's just that we don't have any of that.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I want to clarify.
Yes.
Sorry.
So this gives them the standards into which they would be able to develop.
So going on that, based on that map,
Yeah.
so we have, going out of town, just past across the street from the brewery. That's a farmland. What, is there a process if they decide to turn around and convert that into a TR1?
That's another fantastic segue. If you look at the next slide, this goes through the process that a person has to go through to go from whatever zoning they are now to a TER. Now, in this ordinance, it only allows TE1 to become a TER. That's it. So if the ag land across the street were to come forward and say, I'd like a rezoning to be TER, there are some hoops that are going to have to jump through
Yeah,
in
because
order
that's
to get
clearly
there.
a town edge area.
You would think.
Let me tell you,
I know.
county will not change that ag designation.
No,
So
that's a
That's why I'm-
a
through these
really
public
uphill battle.
comments,
Yes.
you're gonna have pitchforks out.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking that
Right,
question.
right.
Yeah.
That's
So,
right.
Matt, I have a question too. Going back, since we jumped pretty quick, if you go back a slide, you had mentioned conventional development, minimum lot size of 15,000 square feet with central water and sewer. Does that exist?
Without,
right now?
that's 15 is
I'm sorry,
without.
10,000 with central. Does that exist right now? Is that like a hypothetical?
No, that would be a new specification that's only allowed in this district. So TER would be the only place you could have a 10,000 square foot lot with public water and sewer.
Because of Cape Charles.
Well,
Well, I don't know that I'm gonna give you credit, but
just think of it this way, though, if public utilities go up to Route
Right,
13,
that's what I was thinking.
you can get down to a denser set of properties there
Mhm.
with that.
Okay.
And it's sewer and water. So I don't know if Virginia American Water would send, water out there. They'd certainly look at sewage. But the way the language written, both have to be available.
right.
So
And
there's
that's
still-
just not an easy
Still more
find.
hoops to go through.
Correct.
There's a lot of hoops.
Okay.
And I'm still chatting with Laura about capacity and expansion and all of that. And while you're there, though, the multifamily housing is available in TER. So a townhouse or condos could be put in a TER, but they would still have to meet the size requirements and setbacks of the cluster development. So there's no bypassing that. And that's where this thing also doesn't pencil. So if I want to put 6 townhouse units, 3 and 3, it goes beyond what this allows. And that's only 6 units on an acre. So this is the exact right step to take. It is not going to get us home. So to be clear, and it's not supposed to. We all knew that going in. We just need to make sure that we understand the process that we have to follow. So then back to the process. If somebody that owns a TE1 parcel wants to redevelop it into TER, they have to go and get a zoning a rezoning application. That process goes through a pre-application with the county staff, with the building inspector, with the planner. Their conceptual site plan has to meet all setback requirements and everything else. If that all happens, then they can submit their rezoning application. Once they do that, the staff reviews it much more thoroughly and also submits it to outside agencies. Outside agency is where a lot of the cost comes. If you have to build a road to VDOT standards, you're going to spend a lot of money. If you have to build stormwater systems to DEQ standards, you're going to spend some money. VDH, the Department of Health, governs our septic systems. There's a lot of outside agencies, and don't even talk about going in the RPA. So there are a lot of outside agencies that add complexity for the right reasons, but they still add complexity and cost. And for 3 houses on an acre to go through that kind of scrutiny and that kind of cost is tough. After that, it goes to the Planning Commission. Planning Commission, of course, holds their public hearings. They discuss it, they hold their public hearings, and then they'll make a recommendation to the board. The board would then also hold a public hearing and make a decision on whether or not this is an approved rezoning. All of that involves a ton of review and community input. There's 2 public hearings for every single parcel that's going to be changed. So if I own a parcel and I want to redevelop it, I have to go through this entire process. The next part of the process is, okay, well, let's say that the board does give you the nod. Well, you're not done. That I can tell you. There's a lot more to do. You'll have a POD or a plan of development review. Then you've got to get your engineering and your site plans and your DEQs and VDOTs and department. They review the conceptual plan for concept. They review these for engineering. So this is where the developer would have to write a reasonably good sized check to get these stamped plans drawn. Then you get site plan approval, building and permits, construction, inspection, occupancy, all that kind of good stuff. But it's way down the road. And that I really want to make sure that we're clear. By adopting this ordinance, we're not allowing anything. We're simply making a pathway to that type of construction. That's it. And in order to get that type of construction, you have to go through those last 2 slides of bureaucracy. So I know that there have been some questions on traffic impact and water and sewer availability, emergency services. So I reached out to every single agency to find out, like, okay, do we have enough groundwater? And the answer is yes, we do, but it depends where it is. Because our aquifer is down there going like this, we don't know that you're building up here or you're building when it's down here. So where that well goes in the aquifer tells you what the inventory of water is going to be. Our hydrogeologist works through that and determines whether or not it would have the inventory available. It's a huge review process. Emergency services, I've talked with EMT and the sheriff to learn whether or not 400 new homes would require us to hire new staff. And the answer is no. It's less than a 10% increase in current dwellings. In all likelihood, we wouldn't have to add any staff for it. Stormwater management, environmental impacts, DEQ is incredibly engaged throughout the entire process. And then public concerns, every rezoning application requires multiple public hearings. So everyone's voice, every single parcel, every single time, nothing's pre-approved. There's nothing in the background saying, you know, if we pass this, there's going to suddenly swoop in a water park. That's just not the way this works.
What are we at for capacity for the school?
For what?
Schools.
For schools, we've got gobs.
Yeah.
First of all, we're about to have the finest middle and high school in all the land. And then,
Yeah, I just wanted to know.
and we have capacity right now for 400 new elementary students and about the same number, maybe 500 middle and upper. So we've got room for another 1,000. We have 1,265 students in our district. We also have the highest percentage of home and private schooled students in the state. We need to get our kids back into our schools. Dr. Martin is doing a more than credible job with the academic achievement and performance. The new building is going to be remarkable. So
Hopefully we
I
can
think
get the
we're-
CTE building upgraded a little
I
bit too.
just did my cash flow for the CTE building, so don't you worry. So back through the town authorities, because I know that that was one of the questions that we heard, is we're stripping the towns of all authority to make any decisions for your future. Well, clearly that's not the case. First of all, this is outside your town limits, and we're not going to change your town limits. Those boundaries aren't going to change. We're not annexing anything. Your town is your town. The comment that I'm hearing is, well, the police are going to answer calls if it's right outside of town, and then they're not working in the town. I was like, well, that's a management problem of your police, not of services.
We already do.
We already do because we have reciprocal agreements with everybody.
Correct.
Right, so
Same thing
what I'm
with the
getting
fire
at is it's not gonna add anything. We're not gonna require extension of water lines. We're not requiring extension of sewer lines. None of that is happening. What we're doing is saying we'd like to surgically place these units to allow for folks who have income constraints to be able to live with dignity on the shore. That's not a lot to ask. And then, all my data sources in the back, I did that one for you, Paul.
I'll verify and let you know.
I know you will, I know you will. All right, I am happy to try to answer questions, and if I can't do it, I've got a great lawyer.
One comment I'd have is, you see a lot of correspondence on this, but one fact that they keep avoiding is in the comp plan for the county. It says Town Edge should be moving towards 5 houses per acre in Town Edge. And gradually get to 1 per 2 acres as you move further away from town.
Correct.
But that is currently in the comp plan, so people say we're deviating from,
We're not.
we're not.
We're actually furthering it,
Correct.
you know, so, and that's the way I've been looking at it, is my job is to accomplish the comp plan. And, you know, we're moving in that direction. This one's gonna take a minute.
What are the next steps for you? I know you're talking with different towns and things. What's the next step in the
Well,
process?
first of all, I got the script for a new radio ad. That's being taken up.
I saw it this
And
morning.
apparently, the magic show is going to take place at the county on the 16th. We've got public hearings on the 9th for our budget, but then on the 16th, the Planning Commission has their public hearing on this ordinance. It should be everything you think it would be.
Yes.
But at the same time, the county added through the Board of Supervisors in August 5th,
Yes.
town hall, I would say, on the subject.
And that was done because
Correct.
people said they didn't have their voice included, even though it's been here for 10 years and the comp plan's been around and we've had public hearings. We wanted to have one more time where the public could come and ask questions and get information like this. And hopefully that'll alleviate some of the fears,
Yeah,
because there are some out there. They just think that we're going to be Virginia Beach.
yes.
Hopefully it won't be like '09. That was fun.
I've heard rumors.
That was fun.
There's a reason April 12th of 2016 happened.
I remember a crazy one when I just had gotten here, like in 2011 or 12.
There was one in 2015
It
that
was
kind
at the
of
height,
merged
yeah. It was,
9 and 15 together, and that was like, ooh.
it was crazy.
Yeah. And we're still recovering.
So if, as a body, we support this, would it be helpful to have some sort of resolution that could be?
If you wanted to add the power of a resolution to this, it would be more than welcome. More than welcome.
Do you really think this can move the needle? Because like when I look at your housing analysis graph, I think 10 years ago, the conversation centered around when construction costs were well down the slope here, that density and shared septic and water access was the piece that pushed it over the edge and kept you from being able to build and make money
Yeah, and
building
that's-
housing.
That is obviously still the case, so
And
if
like
you look
right
at.
now, we have the situation, we have the density allowable on our property, we have the access after considerable investment, current and future commitments. I mean, we have all the ducks lined up, and it's still not, with free land,
Yeah,
a
free
no-brainer.
land, yeah. Keep that
I
in
mean,
mind.
so
don't
it's,
have
you
much
know,
of
it's
that.
such a huge issue that, you know, we can talk about Northampton and Cape Charles and all this, you know, up and down the East Coast, but it's everywhere.
Well, the construction costs have outpaced the earnings of our lower economy by
Absolutely.
so much
Yeah.
that affordable housing in new construction is almost a myth.
Impossible, yeah.
That construction cost, does that include land cost, or is that
Yeah.
just the?
Includes land and infrastructure. I calculated out an average home right now takes about $194 about to build, and I use $300 a square foot for housing costs because I can factor in the infrastructure.
Yeah, so even the free land that we're doing down here, at 1.8 to hook up to the sewer, you're looking at, you know, almost 14 grand added to each
Right.
sale or rent.
Right. And that's how
added
they
to-
do it.
And that's free.
Yeah.
So, but they're adding that infrastructure back into the cost. of
Yeah, if you
construction.
want to buy the land for $2 million, it adds that to it too.
Right.
So,
Well, we'd be making a heck of a bite into your deficit of 430 units if we were able to pull this off with our 180.
well, you have a big fan at the podium.
Yeah.
Anything
Yes.
else?
No, appreciate
Oh,
it.
yeah,
My
really
pleasure.
appreciate it.
Thank you for your time, I appreciate it.
Look at that, it's very quiet. All right. Got town manager comments?
Just, we've been working hard, pushing through short-term rentals, permits or certifications.
How are our numbers looking?
We're pushing them through fast. I mean, I pushed it probably in the last few days, over 100. So the staff has been working like crazy. We've had meetings with DEQ. They've given us templates now to start working because we were in violation. And they're giving us templates. They're also going to do training with us. So it's been great. Staff have been, you know, working so hard. Finance staff, I mean, and how awesome. You probably have heard that they've been taking visits through the business community. And
I have
just,
my pen with me today.
yes, so it has been a joy.
Logging in to say thank you to our businesses, not thank you, can you volunteer, or thank you, can you sponsor, but a simple thank you with a inexpensive but very genuine gift for each one. So it's been wonderful for our staff and I think for the businesses. And don't forget your business license.
Yes.
Yeah. I have calls scheduled to meet with different organizations, so Virginia Housing, and to start talking about a development agreement with our town attorney. I've also sent the information to them to start looking at templates that they already have. So trying to get ahead of this. I've had a call with Canoni. I've had calls with multiple groups right now to keep these balls rolling. These plates are spinning, and we're doing great. We have a couple candidates have submitted resumes about the planning and zoning position. We've narrowed it down to 2 recruiting firms that we're going to try to do this right now for the next couple weeks on our own and vet these candidates. And if that doesn't go well, then we're ready to move forward with one of these recruiters. So there's a couple things we're trying to secure. I think it's more of the guarantee. If this doesn't work, you know, are they going to come back and do it again? And one of them said no, that you pay the money and that's it. And so it's like, that's not very reassuring for us, considering the amount of money that we have to spend for this. So we're waiting on the next one, but we're going to see how this goes. So we're moving good.
Good.
Yeah. Questions for me?
I noticed in the Bettis building, 7 Strawberry, that all of a sudden there are more kayaks and there's more things going in that are not bathroom related. Do you have any updates there? And
No, I think he's just going to put it in the back part of the building. He's probably just using it to go as a pass-through into our building, but that has nothing to do with us.
They're in
Are they
front,
gonna
right at
do-
the door.
Are they gonna come out of that through the hallway or around the back?
I don't know.
No, I would clarify that.
This is like Southeast Expedition stuff.
Uh-huh.
So more stuff seems to be going in that are not toilets and sinks and that kind of stuff.
Okay, I'll check on it. Interesting.
Yes.
So you've never used a kayak?
A kayak
No, I
bath,
haven't.
the kayak bathrooms are the new trend.
Well, they have a flood, they'll be able to get out.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Row, row, row your boat.
Oh, my God.
So the situation on Mason Avenue, it was confirmed that when they bored the electric conduit line, that it went through 3 different service lines. And so I know it's unfortunate, but VAW sent their underground group that comes in and digs it out and confirmed it. And so we're working with the owners who were affected so that we would cover the cost of what we did. So.
Will we cover the cost of the loss of rentals, or is it those houses? Like
No,
where-
it
where
was
is it?
the chiropractor office
Oh, okay.
and John Burtis's.
Oh, okay.
His
Okay.
home.
I saw that, the underground folks down by, toward the Northampton, is why I asked.
Yeah.
'Cause those houses.
I had to
are
put
not-
them up for 2 days, so I need to be compensated. So wait, is it the town's responsibility? Isn't it the contractor?
Well, yeah, the contractor and VAW will work that out.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back and find out if there's additional costs on our end.
I'm assuming this is the exit line.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, joy.
yeah. But, they did put clean outs so that at least VAW can clean the main out from there, because the closest was 100 feet from there. And nobody has equipment that can go that long,
Right,
so,
yeah.
yeah. Those are highlights.
Is that what, the digging up, though, that they're doing further down toward the beach? That's part of that electrical as well? And that's,
And our L is being repaired.
yes,
So evidently the heat exceeded over 300 degrees and it melted the automobile Bondo glue that he used. So we're gonna, it's in the shop right now and they're looking at different, I think they're gonna do epoxy or something stronger this time. So,
Tell them they might hopefully use high temperature. I doubt it got to 300, that's hot, almost hotter than that.
I know, that's what I was told, but,
yeah,
Well, behind the glass,
yeah.
yeah, and right where it is, that's
yeah, it takes it
possible.
all day.
Mhm.
Or a lot of the daytime.
Yeah.
All right, council comments?
I just have one more question. The changes that you sent to us, the document for fees, when did we discuss that, or is that
That can be in the next meeting's discussion.
next meeting? Okay.
Yeah.
I just have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Any more motions for Rick? Council? Do we have anything? All right, got it. Announcements, town council regular meetings on June 18th. June 19th, town offices will be closed for Juneteenth holiday. June 19th, first concert in the summer concert series in Central Park.
That's a mouthful.
Is that twist one? Jeez. And June 21st, or June 19th to the 21st, 2026 is Sailfest 250.
Woo-hoo!
That's gonna be a busy weekend. July 2nd, we have a tentative work session, most likely. July 3rd, town offices will be closed for the 4th of July in preparation for a lot of work.
Go
And
Pam.
then July 16th, town council regular meeting. Can you get a motion?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.